Dear Venerables, Dhamma friends, we are going to start the today's talk. May everyone settle down for the talk and give the consent with sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Katami tayo dhamma pahatabba tiso tanhati kama tanha bhava tanha vibhava tanhati ti. Dear Venerables, Dhamma friends, we are on the process of learning this greed or the desire which becomes the proximate cause for this suffering of the sansaric journey, and being a single factor, we found very difficult to get it off. So therefore we have to do it in a piecemeal basis, and first and foremost with the transgressional kind of defilement, so that you renounce from the sense pleasure, maybe temporarily, and with the help of this morality, and go to the concentration training, and where you volunteer to keep the mind with one single object. Of course it is against the grain, so some people find it is positive, possible, pragmatic. So when and where you do it, the mindset go on to face to face with the obsessional kind of defilements, which was not prominent when you were at the household level before the renunciation, because the transgressional ones are very gross. So you can't see through and observe the obsessional kind. Once you strategically keep the transgressional type under control, the obsessional part becomes very prominent. So it's a kind of a sign that you are going forward, but you may feel it as you are getting another battalion which you never expected. But hardly you may feel the difference between this transgressional kind and the obsessional kind. Both of them are negative. But transgressional one is very, very vehemently and gross and destroying the social setup also. So, but the obsessional kind only disturbs your entity. So therefore, transgressional, other people can notice. It is gross. You are killing, you are stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, slandering. So everything is ethical. So whenever you transgress, another one individual comes to know. That is something social. But when and where the obsessional happen, you can hide it, but you know it. So if you are mindful enough, you will be happy that you know it. You are not going to hide it for the sake of culture, for the sake of the social norms, for the sake of etiquettes, other kind of thing you know. So therefore when and where you know it, you understand even if you are successful in keeping one object as a primary object, always you have to keep fighting with this 5 hindrances or obsessional type. But after you may do it, you may do away with it for a certain period of time. Specifically if you are mastering the jhanic experience and the absorption, you can keep it under suppress. You can suppress them or keep it 1 hour, 1.5 hours or short period. But then again you know they are coming. So while that nivaranas are not there, while the obsessional distractions are not there, you are bound to see still deep layer that is called anusaya or directed dispositions or your underlying tendencies. They always there, but you will never see till you get rid of the transgressional type and obsessional type, even for a small short period. Then you can see still there are some tendencies are there. That tendencies, even though you see it, you will never recognize them as negative. They appear like positive. Because they are helping you to maintain your egotistic idea, your existence. So therefore you feel it is fair enough to have that kind of a desire for the existence. And then only you will understand that desire for the existence is not stopping at that level. It can, whenever the time permits, whenever the conducive conditions are there, that can become obsessional and ultimately become transgressional. So therefore, even this, the root cause, very subtle form of that directed dispositions or tendencies, so to say your personality traits, so to say your likings and disliking, so to say your habituation, you usually foster, usually fertilize, usually facilitate, feed. But when and where you remove the, efficiently remove the transgressional and obsessional, the day you see these directions, dispositions, tendencies, you find understanding them in the correct perspective is a completely different thing. Be face to face with them with this anusaya kilesa or directed dispositions and understanding them in their direct realistic way is completely different. For that you must have enormous amount of theory knowledge. You must have enormous amount of deductive knowledge and inferential knowledge, then only you can see. Because they are playing in such a quick way, at a time appear like existing, the desire for existence immediately change into the desire for non-existence. So they are so quickly changing. So which one is working, how to deal it with, very difficult to tackle. So after long time, practice and see how they change the facets. At a time appear like a existence or desire for existence. Immediately it goes to the desire for non-existence. So when these two happen, internal your rationality, internal your rational knowledge, you completely feel two people, two personalities. And that is the point this schizophrenic or bipolar situation can happen. So out of these two, when they interplay each other, how much difficult for you to not to take a stand and just observe. You must have some notion about what is the Nibbana is. If there is no such a proposal or thesis, you can't find a way out, and you don't know why you are going to escape from this desire for existence and non-existence, for what? So if the Buddha is not appearing, if the Buddha is not going to proclaim Nibbana, you can't sort it out. So therefore, since we are in the dispensation of the Buddha, we have to understand why I am going to do away with desire for existence and desire for non-existence, because there is an alternative, the ideal ego from the Western point of view. So you are aiming, there were some people, they managed to go through this bhavatanna, vibhavatanna, and then there is a kind of a state which is not falling into this duality, and it is a peaceful state. So you have to let this bhavatanna, vibhavatanna, the existence, desire for the existence and the desire for non-existence to play, and they are playing in a systematic way, according to the cause and effect relationship. And you must take the stand of a neutral observer. If you are going to stand by one or the other, then your mind will be macerated. You will be utterly tortured. So how to do it? It's very difficult to teach in a linear system. So only you have to go prepared, and when it is happening, you have to share with another person and tell, this is how my mind is reacting. But don't interpret it. Don't be judgmental. Just let the other person know. And the other person can take a distance viewpoint and give a fair interpretation. Then you are better off. That is why it says to have a true friend, have a noble friend, is indispensable at that level. So it is very difficult to earn. To go back to the yesterday's talk, we get rid of our permanent and impermanent wealth and we come to a meditation center, we call this is in the social sense, renunciation. So when you come, we know it is like going on a picnic. It is like going into a scout camp. And there you can't expect the air conditioning and all the amenities. You know this is a picnic. When you go there, a lot of difficulties are there. Because you will get the basic needs, but not the luxuries. So they are how much you adopt into this meditation center atmosphere, under the tree or in the forest. So of course it takes time. But please remember, we before the civilization, we were in the forest. Now forest became something new for us. We are just barbarians. Australia has only 2 months of civilization. And the America, very recently they became civilized. Before that it was just the forest. And now going back to the forest I feel like a revolutionary. It is not so. So therefore, yes, adopting is possible. And when you are adopting in the forest and still keep the mind with one single object, it's add more fuel to your aggressive mind or your aggression. And managing some or the other, you manage to just keep the object in vivid. It's a great achievement. It's a samatha way. And we have now 7 days we have given a fight. And you may experience it. So when and where you keep the face-to-face with the object, another set of instructions is to just to see the beginning of the object. Not only keeping the object vivid, but to see characteristics, more hidden characters, and unless otherwise you look into that, you will never see. Because you are bound to see already a recent object. So the Buddha says, please go prepared, be diligent, be vigilant to see from where does this in-breath is coming. And from where does this rising and falling is coming. And how is the beginning. So when you are seeing, observing, you are leading to kind of a mystic. So if you are not prepared, your mind gets bewildered. Mind will completely upset. Because from known to unknown, you are just pushing. And when you go there, you see a scientific, a systematic way. More you go to the subtle part, mindfulness becomes very sharp. Not only the sharpness of the mindfulness, the consistency of the mind. Akhanda sati, vepulla sati. And the penetrating capacity is like a laser beam. It split the outer crux and then penetrate through and split another layer and go into it and another split. And it is going inside. Each time it goes, gives so much of cracks and penetrate into that. So, while mindfulness becomes consistent, mindfulness becomes very efficient and very working the task properly, the object, the shape of the object is disappearing as if like a formation of a cloud. A small, tiny white, this thing ultimately slowly becoming a big cloud-like. You can see the breath is arising. Imagine if you can apply the same skill to the arising anger, you may one day see anger is not already prepared one. It is happening. While it is happening, we fail to observe. If you can see it, easily you can nip it at the butt level. But we are not so. Because we become angry to the anger. So you are bewildered. You are not mindful. You are mindful, not skillful. So therefore, imagine first you apply the mindfulness to the neutral object like the breath and see the beginning. And then slowly you apply it to emotions, feelings, perception and your volitional activities and see exactly the same mechanism. But our natural tendency is to hate the hate and to love the desire. So therefore we are not open enough, we are not scientific enough, we are not skillful enough to see the hate, to see the desire. And the worst and the most difficult is the in-between area between the hate and the desire. The in-between area, the pleasurable and pain. So this part is testing you. See how much you are ignorant. What are you talking about? You are talking on the tip of the iceberg. The maturity is, you have not seen yet. But you claim, I see, I touch, I hear, therefore that is what my experience. You must believe. But it is not the case. So now what you are going to do is, you are see the same thing again and again to see the beginning. That is called anupassana. Anupassana, same thing you see without boredom, without monotony, without changing the mode and the shape of the object. Same object. So therefore you have to start with something recurrent object, repetitive object. And you must go prepared not to let the mind to taken for you right or sleepiness, slimy, boredom, monotony, because this is the usual camouflaging thing. Because you are carried away by the pleasure principle. You want to have excitement. So imagine if you are learning by your mistakes and by talks and by interviews and by inferential knowledge and kind of thing. The day you go prepared, you can see not only the emerging part of the corporeality, the physicality, the breath, the rising and falling. One day you may see the boredom also arising very lightly and slightly. Ultimately it becomes so powerful to push you off from the sitting posture. It tell you not enough now, get out and go from the walking meditation life. So they are also happening in a very slow manner, just like the materiality. In that sense, Buddha is very, very pragmatic and the practical. He says, first master the materiality and let the mind to apply that knowledge in the inferential way to the emotions, to the other likings and disliking, mental states. And when it happens, without your knowledge, of course, you are bound to see the way the anger arises, way the anxiety arises, way the desire arises, the sleepiness arises. Everything the same pattern. But you are mastering, of course, only the materiality. So when and where anger, the desire is no more much inflicting so much of suffering, so you get an additional chance or byproduct, you can keep primary object longer than earlier, quantity-wise. And there's a better chances for you to see qualities of the in-breath and out-breath, or the corporeality, or the rising and falling, or the left and the right. So familiarity makes more informative, more information. And then once you know the middle and the beginning, that means both the ends of this game. Middle part is the end of the rising, end of the falling, end of the in-breath, end of the out-breath. So in the Maha Sutta, the Buddha mentioned, knowing the middle and the beginning, you must let the mind to inquire into the, or it is normally happening, to the tail end of the breath, tail end of the rising, falling, in-breath, out-breath, everywhere. And there you find, with the skillfulness of the subtle phenomena, you never give up. You still going to see the tapering off, disappearing in-breath and out. So in the mindful school, we bring a singing bowl. We hit the singing bowl and ask the children to listen to the end of the music, end of the wave, end of the sound. And there you can see the first time you will give up. And again, if you get the second round, third round, they can listen to further. And when they are about to listen to the end of the music, end of the ring, they are so attentive. They are so consistent, so mindful. They are not skillful, mindful practitioners. But easily you can ask them to listen to the end of the ringing sound. So the same thing when you are doing the breath. It is very obvious out-breath. The disappearing out-breath, you will come to a place where whether the tail end of the breath is concept or it is exactly verifiable reality. They merge each other. If you feel there is a breath, yes, it is. If you are to see it is no breath, no. So it becomes concept and reality. So imagine you are in a swing. Of course, you all people won't go to the swing, but I am telling as a children, sometimes we in Sinhalese New Year period, we put a swing and let the swing to swing and sit on it and wait till it stops. Nearing the stops, close your eyes. So you don't know still it is swinging or not. It is swinging or circling, clockwise or otherwise, because nearing the movement, end of the movement, your mind is swinging, but the swing is may not be. So you feel like you don't know whether it's really you are swinging unless otherwise you open your eyes. So likewise the breath also, when it's about to cease, mind projection say yes or no, both possible. So this is the point when Jnanananda was so sharp, wrote his concept and reality, and the way the Buddha give hints to understand it, your mind can make anything yes or no. It is not possible at the gross level. Of course, it is also possible if you are sharp enough at the quick wit. But when it is at the tapering end, you are bound to see it. So therefore, going to the tapering end of the in-breath and out-breath, you experience when and where there is a breath, the boundaries are there. When and where there is no breath, boundless situation. When and where there is the tapering end of the breath, you can explain with your language. But when and where it is disappearing, no language can help you. When and where the breath is tapering off, the touching point is there. When and where you go to no breath, the touching point disappears. So likewise you can see the language ceases to exist, experience ceases to exist, the working center going to exist, boundaries are going to ceases to exist, and there onward you feel so decasted, chased off. You can't think about orientation. So if you are with the existential or ego existence, desire for the existence, you will run panic. But if you are happy with the non-existence, you will be happy. You will say, it's the biggest spiritual experience I got it. I went into something nothing and no boundaries. I am completely floating and I am fully healed. I am fully rejuvenated. Battery is fully charged. So next day again you can run panic. Again you may say, when the boundaries are disappearing, I don't feel comfortable, full of anxiety, and lot of negative thoughts can happen. So when that is happening, you know the experience at the tail end is not an accident. It's an achievement. It's a progress. But still, there may be liking and disliking. If you are happy with nothing, you hate something. If you are happy with something, you hate nothing. So is it your will or is it something inbuilt in your character? Is it something you can control or not? Or is it something you bought from the last life? Or is it a part and parcel of the evolution? We don't know. But it's a fact. It's an experienceable fact. So when someone is writing the interview report, when you are carefully listening, easily you can understand either you hate matter or antimatter. So it's very clear. So therefore, once you write your interview report, please read it. Then you can understand who you are. If you are happy with nothing, you hate appearing sounds, appearing thoughts, appearing pain, appearing primary object. If you are happy with primary object and sound and thoughts, when the disappearing happens, you feel completely run panic. You are completely upset. Your giddiness happens. The head is rotating and you feel some part of your body is missing and you are just on the air. All that can happen. So, when and where something is preferable, you call that is the desire for existence. When and where nothing appear preferable, that is called desire for non-existence. The traditionally interpretation is different, but this is, I hope, on the 7th day, 8th day meditators can experience it. You can't have both. The changeover happen at the end of the object. And this is not limited to the in-breath and out-breath. When and where your anger disappears, when and where your desire disappears, when and where your sleepiness disappears, when and where your doubt disappears, when and where the past and future indulgence disappears, exactly the same. But of course they are very subtle. Before disappearance you will hold something, you catch something, so you fail to see you fail to trace the tail end. Before ending, you jump into something. That is because of your existence. You wanted to have something. Person fallen into the floods, they hold into whatever may be coming. Likewise, we have so much of reference points, pegs, holding thing. Each and everything make disappointment. Ultimately, nothing gives you kind of a solace, predictable, credible thing. So daily you hold into something and that also become a failure. So under such circumstances, if you are still meditating, you have so much of personality and the strength. So keep on practicing. While practicing, you can see how much the interpretation, how is your body is reacting, how is your feelings are reacting, how is your mind is reacting, how is everything is completely give a new reshuffling, and that is very, very interesting someone to see. This is the point where humans stop evolution. They are the point we got stuck. You can't take the whole humanity into the next stage, but you can pass through. And that is called unwavering, unshaken mind for the positive and negative, good and the bad, correct and wrong. All the duality you have to pass through, surpass. So this is the point your morality come into being, come into question. Because we have internalized some moral values according to your upbringing. So we can't give them up. We are abiding by our moral values. So if you say object is good, nothingness appear like bad. If you say nothingness as good, object appear like good, bad. So therefore you become one-sided, lopsided, hardly one can keep. It's a kind of a criterion I introduced in my upbringing, but in the nature there is no good and bad. In the nature, intrinsically, there is no such yes and no. Everything is concept. So when and where you are facing that, imagine now you just walk. And while walking, you see something. You have certain amount of knowledge. When and where you see something, before meditation and now, it's a huge difference. You are not in a meditating mood as such. You are not sitting and meditating, and you just happen to see something. So the experience you gain is working, and in the Malunkyaputta Sutta, the Thero known as Malunkyaputta, give the person the seeing for a person who has mastered mind with mindfulness and the person without mindfulness. Exactly the same thing whenever you see Rupan Dissa Sati Mutta Piyanimittam Manasikaroti. Whenever you see something without mindfulness, without critical, radical reflection, you appreciate it. Ha, what a nice thing, I see such and such thing. Rupan Dissa Sati Mutta Piyanimittam Manasikaroti. So you feel you are fortunate to see such a thing. Saratta Chitto Vedeti Tancha Ajjosa Titati. You get attached so that at that time, whatever the listening, you don't care. Whatever the smell, you don't care. Whatever the taste, touch, nothing care, because you become a seer. So much so, you make stories with what you have seen. Saratta Chitto Vedeti Tancha Ajjosa Titati. You get into this visual object. And then, Aneka Rupa Sambhava. So see, what about getting a picture and enlarge it and put on my wall? And what about show it to another friend? Likewise, you experience from the different viewpoints and you imagine, if there is a good enough light, this will be very nice. And if you look from this angle, it is nice. So you keep on going there. So create so much of mental proliferation, so much so, you are no more looking at it. You are dwelling upon what you have seen and storytelling happens. You are baseless now. Ultimately, when it becomes some otherwise, you become so sorry. Because at that time you became a seer and you were so taken away, carried away by this visual object, you forget at that time, same time you would have to be a listener, be a person with smelling, tasting, touching, any other thing. The very seeing object is camouflaging you, and all the other become null and void, you become a seer. So each and every time, when you see, when you hear, when you smell, when you taste, when you touch, specializing one means rejecting five. So what a loss. If you know at least it, you will be try to understand, I was traveling, but on the way I see a photo, I see a visual object. Now how much I obsess with that visual thing and leaving aside your journey, and you get hooked up there. And if you can remember, I am a person traveling, and meanwhile when I see it, and to go back to the journey, then you are not entertaining that particular thing so much. And you have no chance to go for mental preparation, storytelling, and whether it is becoming unbecoming or becoming, never mind. The impact, the inflict is reducing. So, the object's point of view, now you are not much interested in of that. Of course, you see it, that's it. Stop at that seeing. No more mental proliferation. No more storytelling. No more regret. So there is no much of turbulence made into your stream of consciousness. Because you know, halfway through you see something, but you are a traveler. I am traveling again because after seeing I came back to traveling. Till that you learn this kind of a skill, everything you get hooked up will take you for a ride. And that is what you call literature. That is what you call teledrama. That is what you call novels. That is what you call pictures. Everyone is ready to misdirect you. But still the Buddha says, if you are full of mindfulness, if you know everything is a trap, even by looking at that, you can maintain your stream of consciousness fairly safe. In this vicissitude of the world, still you can ride the wave. You can be aware. That is the immunity, that is the security Dhamma is going to give. You can't purchase it by money, or by reading, or by doing other meritorious deeds. And specific enough, unless otherwise you develop these positive qualities, and upon that only, even if you see, no much of entanglement. Ditthe, ditthamattam bhavisati. You see, stop at that. Don't proliferate. Don't go for storytelling. Or classically the Buddha put, you look at it as if you are a blind person. Chakkumase yata ando. Sotava badiro yata. People are telling this story and that story, as if you are listening, but don't take it to your ear. Stop at that level. So how can you run a family? Never. The family members are the close, most evil devils to pull you here and there. So they are the very dear and near ones. So Buddha says, Pemato jayati soko, tanhaya jayati soko. Whatever you selected as something special, they give special troubles. If you give a high potential value, very, very high VVIP, from there only the trouble comes, thunderbolts. If you treat everyone equal, troubles are coming, but day-to-day unsatisfactoriness. No much of panic, no much of hysteria, no much of other disturbance. So we fail to see things as equal. Instead we give priorities, high value. That is because of your craving for existence. It is not a crime, but if you know, as if you are working with 230 current, you can work safely, knowing the electricity laws. Put a rubber glove and use it, no problem. But don't expect the electric current to be compassionate. I am touching you, please don't give me a shock. Telling you are an electrician. No. Even if you are an electrician, if you touch, you get it. If you are an electrician, put a rubber glove, that's it. So mindfulness is giving you, even if you are in a vulnerable situation, as far as you know it is vulnerable, because you have experienced partly, and then you are in a noble quest. Understand the security is there due to your vigilance, due to your alertness, due to your diligence that you can't purchase. Never. You have to be alert there. And there you can see, Krishnamurti is putting it in a very nice way. It is often happen when we are going back, serpents are there, very tiny fellows. So nearing your leg to the ground, if you can see there's a serpent, no one should tell you where to run. It's instinctively happening. Imagine if you did not see it, no mercy, the serpent sting. So seeing 1 split second before and not seeing 1 split second before make the difference. This is what you call diligence. This is what you call the vigilance. It is not the mistake of the serpent. But when you are walking in the dark, you have to be very alert. And the human mind is having that capacity. But when and where you are selecting and desirable and chasing something, you become blindfold. You cannot be alert in indiscriminate way. But that does not indicate you are impotent. You have the potential. You have the possibility because you are human. So therefore, desire for existence and non-existence can play. This play you must understand, and knowing that the desire for the existence can be immediately changed into the non-existence, desire for, so you may commit suicide or you become enlightened. Almost the same. So there's one state at the deathbed, while you are at the sinking level, you can be aware that I am sinking and you can be enlightened. But you want to be enlightened first and throw a party before the death. I am being an enlightened being, I must show the extrasensory perception and magic and kind of, otherwise what is this bloody enlightenment? And if I can't show it to the others. So calculating so much of enlightened beings, no one has any record of throwing party. So when you go to that state, ideal ego, you are this exciting others and getting the praise from the others, everything also becoming null and void. If it is so, will you register again for another retreat? Meditation retreat? No one will come to the meditation. So everyone wanted to become enlightened and throw party. If it is so, you will be very happy. If you can fly back in the magical power back home, definitely you will pay any amount. This is the existentialism. That is what you call the desire for existence. You want to one-upmanship. When we come to the non-existence, you find what a vanity. When we come to this, on this earth, we had no any relatives. And once you go on, no. But meanwhile, we are going to satisfy, please others. No one did it successfully. So, how much that kind of unwavering mind helpful for you to take it as a refuge in midst of desire for existence and desire for non-existence. So when the Buddha is explaining it, it's very difficult to put into language. He says, your mind you must train not to carried away by the vicissitudes of the world. 8 vicissitudes: gain and the loss, pain and the pleasure, fame and the ill fame. Everything you must be equipoised. Very difficult. Because our society is so competitive. Our mind is trained to be competition. So therefore, we can't decondition our mind. We can't de-learn this artificial thing. So at the bhavatanna, vibhavatanna level, we have to reshuffle everything, unlearn everything, decondition everything, and be like a beginner, be like a infant, or be like a child. That itself is a healing thing. So therefore, imagine a person meditating for therapeutic value, meditating for healing, curative. He will never compromise for ideal ego. He wanted to do meditation to add some glory. So definitely it is leading to some kind of a repercussion. But that does not indicate at the beginning of your meditative life you must have the clear idea about the ideal ego. While you are practicing, you must be ready. You must be ready to change. And that happened due to the association with the true people, halfway. Association with the noble people, and then only you reshuffle. Even at the beginning it was not there. In the Milinda Panha, which is a very famous book, later compilation, the King Miranda is come to the Venerable Nagasena and asked so much of questions. And Venerable Nagasena is so sharp. He gives you appropriate example and the answer. So at last, the King Miranda also was a kind of a debating person, very famous. So talking with this Buddhist monk and ultimately asked, Bhante, when did you earn this versatile, the ever answering quality? were you practicing right from the beginning for this college? No, he told, when I am renunciating, I had no idea about for what I am going to become ordained. And whenever I start with Anapanasati and kind of thing, I just did for the sake of doing. While happening only, I get a chance to rewrite my objectives. It's ever changing. And halfway only I came to know, as far as you have some desire for existence, it's a block. If you have a desire for non-existence, still a block. So therefore, knowing that, not to get apart, put aside into one side, and to keep the mind in the middle, even without touch with that one, it is never been taught in the classrooms. No, you can teach in a book. So you have to first go into that, where that any existing thing, any appointment is leading to disappointment. So therefore, be ready, anything ceases to exist. And the day you see the cessation, the depreciation, dissolution, whatever the original object, matter, it's a matter of feeling, perception or volitional activity, the disappearance, the dissolution is exactly the same taste. Whether the dissolution of the in-breath or out-breath or rising or falling or left leg or right leg, appearing part is so much of multivarious. That's why the different meditation system. People teaching Anapanasati is completely different from people teaching rising and falling. But the dissolution part, no difference. The day you come to the dissolution, the disappearance and the nirodha, the Buddha says exactly the same taste. Nirodha Satya. It is like wherever you go, if you put your finger into the sea and taste, exactly the same taste. So likewise, see the disappearing part, you get exactly the relaxation. But this is never been taught in our school subjects. Everything we are taught, the arising part. It is multivarious, different faculties, different heads of the departments and different people, specialists, they are ever increasing. But everything is disappearing, no one is specializing because it appears like unauspicious. So therefore, when and where you go to the beyond the rising and passing away stage of meditation, you see a flux. So much of dots are rising, so much of dots are appearing, disappearing. And ultimately everything is appear like this, the flux. How much you can just observe it without labeling, without putting a side. And when you are observing, you develop a kind of attitude, you become more and more close with the object of meditation and observing mind. More the distance disappears, there is a kind of a harmony. The object and the observed mind both rotate in the same RPM, revolution per minute. There you can't separate it out, the object and the mind. As far as these two are separate, storytelling possible. When the object of meditation and the observing mind become together, the whole universe and you, there is no boundary. You become the boundless situation. So when that happens, that experience never talk about the male, female, ordained, non-ordained, Buddhist, non-Buddhist, nothing. Never. Till that you have sectarianism. Till that you have ordained, non-ordained. Forest living and the village living and the towns and the capital cities and everywhere. But moment you see the rising and passing away and it come to a maturity, you see there is no in and out difference, there is no me and not me difference, but it is disappointing because you lose your boundaries, you lose your ego, so therefore you feel like epistemological death. Very difficult someone to keep this as a practice. Very difficult to someone be consistent with this one. When it is happening, when and where you ready to go with, ultimately you find more than the appearance, more than the genesis arising, the disappearance part is the what we have missed so far. So you are bound to see the disappearance. So it is leading to such a terror, such a fear. Everything is disappearing. This is called Bhanga Jnana and Bhaya Jnana, Bhayatupattana Jnana. You feel so much of the baseless kind of a decast, lonely, No one, no, any energy, nothing can save you. And you find, so far what I was doing was fixing benchmarks, fixing reference points. Everything dissolves. So when that happens, it's a very, very psychological test, physical test, whether you can endure such a situation, and then you find what is the vanity in this world. Everyone is trying to self-aggrandization, self-glory, and for that they are up to anything. They are up to anything. So then you see adinava, disadvantages, and feel like better to be natural, better to be realistic, rather than this role play on the earth. And you become childlike, very innocent, very straightforward. Even if your mind is ready to accept this innocence, still the body is not ready. Still your tendencies are not ready. Still your habits are not ready. Still your likings are not, dislikings are not ready. So you have to observe yourself, now to what side I am fertilizing. Again go back to the commoners and try to self-indulgence, or to go into the noble people and noble Dhamma and noble practice. So there you have to take care about three things: what you are talking, what you are doing, and what is your way of life. Samma ditti, samma vacha, samma kammanta, samma ajiva. Without reshuffling these things, the next step will never take place. So don't talk nonsense. If you are talking, talk to the point, short and sweet. No storytelling. And when you are doing something, you must understand for the utility value, not for the luxury, not for the consumerization, not for the fashion. And your livelihood must be not to exploit others and to cheat others, not to interfere others' psychologies. It's a crime in terms of politics or in terms of economy or in terms of society. So you can be an individual, a very solid individual, but let others have their own rights. They can select either sensuous world or spiritual world. You have no any idea, you have no any rights to tell the spiritual world is better than the sensuous, or sensuous is better than spiritual. This religion and that religion, don't. But if someone come and ask, you can share. So even you are living in the very popular society, still you can be solitude, up to yourself, keep up to yourself. And the best thing Venerable Jnanarama told was, have a fixed timetable. Tell the world, I am after this timetable. Whenever time permits, I can talk with you, but otherwise, please. So the timetable going to give you the backbone. That is the refuge. But it's a mechanical thing. It's a mechanical thing. That if you can't, even after understand this valuable thing, still if you can't maintain the timetable, what a slave are you? You have no time for your well-being. You have no time for your good self. But you think the duties and everything is important. Of course, society will say like that. But at the end, they are not going to come and refuse going to give any solace. So therefore, you must have your fixed timetable. So that is the life of monkhood. That's the idea of monkhood. But you see, all the monks are, what the kind of jokers they are. What the kind of jokers they are. They are carried away by so much of duties, and they are masters of ceremonies. If you wish to have any ceremony, please hire a monk, give a best performance. They never think about their well-being. And people think they are very generous and they are helping others, but if someone says, be mindful and mind your own business, they will get quite irritated. Are you also in the same boat, being a lay or being a monk? So this is the point you have to think about. Samma vacha, samma kammanta, samma ajiva. And when and where you change the samma vacha, samma kammanta, samma ajiva, even a non-meditator can see you have evolved. Non-Buddhist even can see. Even a child can see. Even the cat in your house can see. You are not disturbing. You are not violating the nature. You are just a being. So you need no any theory. It is nature. It is Taoism. You let the nature to happen. Whenever you feel like urinating, you go and urinate. But if you are a civilized being, you can't urinate whenever you feel urination, because you have to have the standing on ceremonies. And you can't go to the toilet for the first job because so much of duties and kind of thing. So are the main diseases because we are not defecating at a time. We are not urinating at a time because of this bloody civilization. You can see the birds are shitting while flying, chip, go. And the monkeys are while urinating while we are going up in the water, and they are sitting on the wire and they are urinating. If they go and tell that we have a tension, what will monkeys are going to tell you? What? Tension? We don't know. You have any ancestral guilt? What? If you wish, go and consult them, either monkey or a monk. They are not binding by others. They are separate. So they are ready to understand. At a time we are carried away by this desire for the existence. At a time we are carried away by the desire for non-existence. So both of them not in your agenda. You don't know which one to support. You can see at a time you are in this side, at a time other side. So they are contradictory, but within your brain, both these personalities are living. So when and where you can understand, you are called schizophrenia or bipolar, whatever may be. And when and where put together, that means when you know how to camouflage, you are a full-fledged citizen. You know how to camouflage according to society. The monks, they don't have such a response. I am not asking to be barbaric. I am not asking you to be animal-like. But they are living with us to give a message. So you have to be, see the animals. And there you can see when and where you become childlike or innocence and straight, there's no chances for the anxiety or desire or tension to arise. When and where the tension arises, you make it a sign for your mindfulness. I am intense. I am with frustration. Yes. So look at it. Because frustration is your primary object. You be aware. Then only you can see why other people are so much of suffering because they are frustration. I have my frustration. This is exactly the same. So this indicates the humanity. So therefore, when and where you are practicing, if you wish to have any change in your personality, wish to have any change in your likings and dislikings, if you wish to have any change in your habituation, please take the mean advantage. At a time you are desire for the existence, at a time you are desire for non-existence, so you get a play. You can meddle it with. And then tell others, I am sorry, I am not in either side, so therefore sometimes I may talk about desire with the desire of existence, at the time I may talk with the desire for non-existence, that this is what happens. So don't have much of a friendship with me. My personality is so cheating. You know. And more you go with that kind of this thing, you will never take a stand. You will never be arrogant. You will try to vehemently tell something, this is it. No, you can say that next moment it can be changed. So some people consider this is as not much now strong personality. But the Buddha says, this is the adaptability. You are ready to adapt into the any situation. When you at Rome, you behave like a Roman. This adaptability is exactly the intrinsic meaning of a monkhood. And the next thing is for the yogi. So in the Zen Buddhism it says, the water take the shape of the vessel. Whatever the way you are pouring, water is not asking that I need this kind of a seat or that kind of a seat. So yogi is a solid person, somebody, and when you are nobody, you are ready for anything. Wherever you put, you can be happy with there. You know how to well adopt it. And again, nobody becomes somebody. Whenever you are at a very calm and serene and no boundary situation, all of a sudden, dog bark, again you come into the presence. And pain happen, you come back to the present. Don't consider it as an insult. They have their own beginning and the end. At the end of unknown, we'll start with the known. At the end of the unknown, start with the unknown. That known and unknown, matter and the antimatter, such a big difference. The known part is insignificant, less than 5%. Unknown is 96%. If you consider it as a fear, phobia, no liberation. The day you open and say whatever the glorified thing is less than 5% and balance is just darkness. So therefore, knowing that as it is in the proportionate way, not a nihilism. It is not an unproductive thing. It is not something negative about this materiality. It's a fact. And you see the science to understand, the matter is less than 4%. Antimatter and dark matter is 96%. So much of time. But even then, good. The science can see it itself. And Fridtjof Capra is writing about the Tao of physics 30 years ago. And still he says, no one is challenging. Physics has no future. Matter dissolves into the antimatter. And when and where you go into antimatter, the huge fear, the dark matter or dark hole can absorb everything. So therefore they are not experimenting towards that. They went very close to the creating of the dark hole, and then the dark hole appeared like the end of the world. So they stopped it. So likewise, when you also go into the unknown, when you are going to the boundless situation, there is a resistance inside. That is what you call the desire for existence. But after a while, slowly, you will learn how to go from somebody to nobody. On the same token, you have to learn how the nobody to become somebody. When Jnanarama is writing in his book, the Samatha Vidassana Bhavana Marga, from thing to nothing, from nothing to thing. Dravyen adravyam avima, adravyen dravyam avima. That is what Einstein did. E is equal to mc square. When the E means energy, non-local, no specific gravity. M means mass with the specific gravity, and it is located. So local to non-local, this relationship is the one break the boundaries of the physics. Exactly your egotistic idea also completely dissolved into, not in a nihilistic way, not in a committing suicide way, but there is a ideal ego, arahant, can live without taking into the sides and be aware. It says, the Buddha says, aladdang yadidan sadhu, naladdang sundarami. Ubayeneva so thadi, rukkanga pativatte. If a person in the forest go to a tree, thinking there may be some fruits, and when you go there, if the fruits are available, well and good. If they are not available, still good. What to do? Can I protest against the tree? Both answers are okay, just like going to the tree. So when the monkey is going with the ball, and one house is going to give pizza, or something very good, the next house says, I have nothing. Both good. Even they don't give anything, no problem. So if you can have that kind of approach to the world, which is more greener, rather than you go to the bank and get the money and be assured about your future. But when the bankruptcy happen or any inflation happen, your values are decided by someone. But instead, adopt into the present situation. Animal kingdom is that, and monk also like that. So therefore, you have ideal ego, the Buddha presented. So slowly you will understand what does it mean by Nibbana, not to touch both the ends. And in order to get rid of the both the ends, if you select the middle means your ignorance. Middle means your ignorance, and ignorance, understanding ignorance is the knowledge. That means you are understanding yourself. So there you are not holding even to the middle that you have selected. So that is the point where the tanha, first we remove the kama tanha, and then come to the bhava tanha for the existence. I mean, that is, you can't do away with that. But later, it will be shifting to the vibhava tanha, desire for non-existence. You play with this. When the object happens, you know that's the end of nothing. Whenever the nothingness happens, you know that is the end of the object. So when these things are happening, don't take a side. Observe it. That is what you call not shaken away, not carried away by the vicissitudes of the world. So it is a possibility. It's a potential. And if you wish, you can achieve it. But halfway, you will be tested to the 100%. Testing put into the acid test. But when a repetitive application, there's a kind of a refinement is happening. So therefore, experimenting or being on the battlefield, being in the meditation itself is praiseworthy. So we are on the way. Sometimes we are happy with object, sometimes we are happy with no object. Don't hold into either. Just pass through and to see how the day mind understand object means the mind means the object. Appearing of the mind, object means appearing of the mind. Disappearing of the object is disappearing of the mind. That is called jnanancha, jnatancha, bopi vipassana. Whenever something arises, you know this is the appearance of mind. Whenever something disappearing, you know it's a disappearance of mind. Immediately again happening. So you are not now talking in terms of the object. Now you are turning back and see, I am talking in terms of my mind. My consciousness is arising and passing away. So if the consciousness is so momentary, pragmatic, how can you have projections outside? So this is how you become independent of future planning or failures in the past. Nothing. But if it is happening, you know it's a mind game. And continue it. When that happens, you can sit longer, you can walk longer, you can be with the breath longer, you can be with the left and the right longer. So your maturity slowly increases. Hope the things I talk will be helpful for you to continue this practice. Wishing that, I would like to sum up the day's talk. Thank you very much for listening.